Hey there guys, in these troubling times I really hope all of you guys and your families are healthy and well. Most of us, including myself, are stuck at home. Not like I would go to a lot of places anyway, but it really sucks. I work from home 5 days a week and cannot meet up with friends and family. Also, a concert I was really excited for got cancelled, so I'm a bit bummed out. But also I want to spread some positivity, and now is a great time to play a lot of new and older games. So I made a top 5 of games that I will be playing during these times. I will tell you what the game is, why I'm playing it, and why you should give it a chance as well. At the end of the video, I will also share some suggestions that members of my Discord came up with. Since my YouTube channel is mainly about Guild Wars 2, I won't feature this game in the list. If you aren't playing Guild Wars 2 just yet, please check out my channel. The MMO has a very healthy player base, and it was recently revealed to us that the game is getting its 3rd expansion. Anyway, without further ado, let's dig into my list. At number 5 we have Assassin's Creed, especially the newer ones. I think most of you have heard about Assassin's Creed or have ever played 1 or 2 games of this franchise. In case you haven't, a short introduction. Assassin's Creed is an action-adventure game series that is set in multiple time eras in the past. The game is actually set in the present, where you as a person can sync up your DNA with the Animus, or in later games the Helix. When your DNA is synced up, you can start reliving memories of your ancestors. The first game was actually pretty fun, but it was far from the best. The best games, in my opinion, and the general opinion, were Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and for me, Revelations as well. Without spoiling anything, after Assassin's Creed Revelations, the game went away from its main storyline, and most games could be played without having played the older games. The main storyline is now more focused on the assassin that is set in the past rather than the happenings in the present or future. Therefore, if you want to play any of these games now and don't want to play all of them, I'd suggest starting with the newer Assassin's Creed games. They regularly go on sale on different platforms and even on the official Ubisoft store. The link is in the description. Make sure to check that often for the latest deals for this franchise. You can safely start with Assassin's Creed Black Flag or Assassin's Creed 3, which is more focused around pirates or Native Americans, and work from there. I bought all of the more recent games with a discount over time, since I have played all of the older games up to Black Flag in the past. I'm currently really enjoying Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which is set in London during the Industrial Revolution. It has fun little gimmicks like the grappling hook, and you can swap between 2 characters, and both characters have missions on their own. So why should you play it now? It is easy to hop in, you don't need prior knowledge of the main story, and it isn't 50 hours long. You can literally play through the story in a few days, but you can also dwell through, for example, London and do a lot of side missions. By doing these side missions, you can extend your time in the game significantly. You basically determine how long you want to spend in the game. Also, it is fun to meet historical characters and complete the missions or quests they give to you. Each game has their unique gimmick that changes your gameplay experience. Like I said before, in Syndicate you have the grappling hook, and for example in Assassin's Creed Origins you can control a hawk to patrol for you. And you also have an awesome camel to ride on. Yeah boy! Although Assassin's Creed Unity gave the franchise a bad name because of the huge amount of unplayable bugs, all of them are patched now. I rarely encountered any strange or game-breaking bugs nowadays. If you don't know which ones to pick up, let me help you out. The first 4 games are still my favorites, but have a longer storyline that blends into each other. Pick up those games if you want a longer storyline. If we just look at the new ones, I have a lot of fun in Origins and Odyssey. I think these are more appealing to the general audience. Otherwise, pick up Assassin's Creed 3, Black Flag or Syndicate. I think these are quite good. So Origins and Odyssey are the newer and better ones in my opinion, but consider checking out 3, Black Flag and Syndicate too. Anyway, let's move on to the next game. You might have seen this game on my channel before. It's The Elder Scrolls Online. I really want to limit the amount of MMOs I'm playing. MMOs are great to invest time into. You have to build your character up from the ground. You have achievements to unlock and a world to explore, and also a story to play. But for those reasons, I usually stick with Guild Wars 2. That does not mean we should not try out any new MMOs. The Elder Scrolls Online was one of those MMOs that caught my attention over the last years. It is easy to get into, especially if you have played other Elder Scrolls games like Skyrim in the past. The game can really be played in 2 ways. You can play it first person like other Elder Scrolls games, but you can also play it third person. Although you can play it in both ways, in later stages of the game, you kind of need to use the third person view to see what is going on around you. The game is buy to play, so in order to play it, you must buy it. But there is no subscription fee to the game. It does have an ESO Plus subscription, which gives you access to new stories and side missions. The game also has 3 expansions, one of them is integrated into the base game if I understood that correctly. These expansions add extra regions to discover, and the Elsewhere expansion even allows you to play as a new class, the Necromancer. The base game is about €18 right now for European players and about $20 for US players. Elsewhere, one of the expansions, is a bit more expensive, still about $40 to $50 depending on your region. Check a few retailers before you buy it. The prices vary a lot. If I were you, pick up the base game first, try that out, and after that buy an expansion if you like it. But why should you play it now? If you have some spare time right now, I think you should give The Elder Scrolls Online a shot. It's a fun game and you can play it for hours or just for 30 minutes. You will be productive in both ways. The classes are a bit more traditional. Nothing new there, but they have added the traditional Elder Scrolls combat in the mix. Additionally, The Elder Scrolls Online has recently announced its newest expansion, Greymoor. This one is set to release in June of this year. This expansion will take you to the region of Skyrim that we all know from one of the most popular Elder Scrolls games. If you want to be ready for that and want to give the game a shot before the expansion goes live, now it's the time to play. I did make a number of Elder Scrolls videos which are still pretty relevant. Check them out if you consider getting into it. The next one on the list is The Plague Tale: Innocence. Bazan, a member of my Discord, mentioned that it is now a great time to play story-driven games. I do think he's right about that. The Plague Tale: Innocence is a story-driven game that came out last year. I liked it a lot. It was also awarded the Outstanding Story-Rich Game of 2019, so they must have done something right. The game is set in the year 1348, around the time of the Black Death. At the time, the peaceful life of our main character, Amicia de Rune, is disturbed by the plague, the Black Death. The story starts with a bunch of knights invading your home and trying to kidnap your little brother. You have to prevent that from happening. You venture through the plague-infested lands with allies you find along the way. Like most of you know, the Black Death was spread through rats in the medieval ages. The developers added a little paranormal feature to this plague. The rats that spread the plague come in insane numbers and are also relatively smart. By solving puzzles, you have to make your way through these rats to finish the objectives. There is no combat in this game. You have a slingshot, but don't expect any epic sword fights with other humans. This is more of a sci-fi horror puzzle game. There is a free demo on Steam, but the full game is still pricey. It's about $40 to $50 depending on your region. If you want to know more about this game, I made a short video about it as well. Check that one out in the info charts. For those who are more competitive during these times, I got a game for you as well. Have you tried Heroes of the Storm? Heroes of the Storm is a MOBA created by Blizzard Entertainment. You know, the guys who created World of Warcraft. Heroes of the Storm, also abbreviated to HOTS, is a somewhat stripped down and more casual approach to the more popular MOBAs like Dota and League of Legends. You can play as familiar characters from the Blizzard universe, for example, Troll, Jaina, Arthas, Reynar and Diablo. In your team of 5, you must fight your way through the opposing team and destroy their core. The core is the big building at the enemy's base, and in order to get there, you have to destroy towers, forts and walls, while the opposing team defends them. But you also will have to defend your towers and forts, since the opposing team will try to destroy your core as well. In classic MOBAs like Dota and League of Legends, you will help your so-called carry farm gold and items in order to get stronger. That player must be strong enough to basically defeat the other team on his own. In Heroes of the Storm, you won't have to collect items and you won't risk to fight well-farmed characters. Heroes of the Storm is based on team effort. You level as a team, not as an individual character. So when your teammate kills a creep, monster or player, that XP will be put into a pool of XP you can see at the top of your screen. Since the game does not follow the classic MOBA game structure, it does make it more accessible for casual players. You won't have to collect or craft items. Heroes of the Storm does not have that. For some, that might be a turn-off, but for me, it is not. So why should you play it? Heroes of the Storm is a free game that is more focused on casual players. The game is easy to understand if you have played a few games. Also, I play this game regularly with real-life friends and even with some colleagues. The Threshold to get into the game is low, so give it a shot. A match of Heroes of the Storm is also about half or even a third of a game of Dota or League of Legends. A match in Heroes of the Storm lasts about 20 to 30 minutes, while games of Dota or League can take up to 40 to 60 minutes. Heroes of the Storm has received some mixed news coverage over the last few years. The esports scene is smaller now, and the dev team is smaller than at its initial release. However, the game is well populated and there is still new content and heroes coming to the game. It's far from being dead. Please don't let that turn you down. Now moving on to the last game, let's head to my childhood. Let's have a look at old school RuneScape. Most of you know about old school RuneScape. Hell, I think most of you spend a good amount of time in this game. Old school RuneScape is the re-released version of RuneScape we all know and loved back in 2007. I mostly used to play RuneScape before that time, but that's besides the point. The current version of RuneScape, RuneScape 3, has better graphics and a more interactive combat system. But next to that, it also has some cash shop elements that some players disliked. The change in pace, combat, and the addition of a cash shop was not favorable to a big chunk of the community, so they re-released an older version of RuneScape. Although this old school version of RuneScape has dated graphics, it has still not lost its charm. Everything we know and loved about it is still there. The game has also a low threshold, so it's easy to get into. Also, what I like most about the game is that you don't have to actively participate to play the game. If you want to fish, grab your fishing net, click on a puddle and your character starts to fish. Same goes for combat. Click on a monster and your character starts to fight. Therefore, I really like to play old school RuneScape while I'm catching up on the news or when I'm watching a couple of YouTube videos. I only have to click a few times to be productive in this game. If you want to be more active in RuneScape, there's always quests and PvP. The quests aren't too hard, but require you to travel the world in search of monsters, people or items. They usually require a lot of walking back and forth. Soon, I'm going to try and complete the Dragon Slayer quest, my childhood nightmare. I hope that goes well. The PvP in RuneScape can be found in the wilderness, which I do not dare to venture to this day. I won't call it a childhood trauma, but that place still gives me the creeps. If I would die out there, I would lose all the items I have on me. Be on your guard when you venture there. Now, why should you play it now? Well, like many of the games on this list, it is easy to get into. Also, a big chunk of the world is accessible for free-to-play players and it does not require your full attention to play it. It's a more laid-back game you can play, but if you want to play it more actively, you can do that too. It's also fun to see people reconnect in this old version of RuneScape. I also got in touch with some old friends from elementary school through this game. We haven't spoke for about 15 years and now we find each other through an old game. So that's my list of the top 5 games I will play next to Guild Wars 2 while all of us have to stay indoors. I also asked my Discord for some suggestions about the games they like to play during these times. Many of the suggestions included Guild Wars 2, since that's where this channel is all about. But there were also some other great suggestions in there. Let's kick it off with Speedy, who recommended Guild Wars 2, Overwatch and They Are Billions. I have not seen much of They Are Billions just yet, but the reviews of the game are extremely positive and the art style is pretty cool. Be sure to check that one out. Bazan shared some of his hidden gems with us. The games he mentioned were My Time at Porsche, Slime Ranch, Euro Truck and Stardew Valley. I don't know the first 2 games, but I have heard of Stardew Valley before. Painless Monk sticks with Guild Wars 2 as an MMO, gives Warzone a try as his FPS, Dota and LoL as his MOBAs, and Path of Exile as a hack and slash. All of these games are free to play, so make sure to check them out. Also, he mentions The Division 2 since there are great discounts in this game. They Do Travel in Herds also mentions Guild Wars 2 and Stardew Valley. Warframe is also pretty fun and is free to play. I played a bit of that too in the past. Modded Skyrim and Monster Hunter are also amongst his favorites. And last, Sky mentioned Animal Crossing. Not really a PC game, but he mentioned that a lot of people got interested in the game since they are stuck at home now. So those are the recommendations of some members in my Discord. I think they are nice additions to my list and I hope you will find something interesting in their lists too. If you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment, and for more, don't forget to subscribe. Make sure to play these games together with some friends, family members or colleagues to double the fun. For now, thank you all so much for watching and above all, stay healthy and stay safe, my friends. Hope to see you all in the next one. Peace!